What did the popular kid at your school do to go from cool to an absolute outcast? Sent his girlfriend's naked pics to the whole school. Drugs. You're the cool kid in 9th grade if you're smoking weed all the time. You're not the cool kid in 12th grade if you're addicted to heroin. Killed an infant in a car accident. Completely shut down during senior year. Wouldn't talk to anybody anymore. Crack. He and his couple friends started smoking crack senior year of high school. They got quarantined to themselves. Ran into one of them a couple weeks ago. He kept trying to get me back to their apartment to do meth. He got drunk and killed a family of 4 in a car accident. She tried to manipulate all her friends and pit them against each other with a bunch of catty lies. Well, that in combination with wearing her pageant sash and crown to school for like a week. All-girls school. Somehow he superglued a fat kid to a toilet seat. The poor kid went into the stall in the morning, sat there silently crying all day, and was discovered by a janitor that evening. Mr. Cool apparently told his clique about what he had done, and the next day everyone knew about it. The kid that was glued lost some skin when he was pried from the seat. Apparently it turned out to be a bloody mess. He didn't come to school for about a week. Mr. Cool was expelled by the school, and socially among the students. The fat kid gained a lot of new friends and became quite popular. He was homecoming king that year. He was popular because he was a rebel that talked back to teachers and insulted them openly. He became an outcast because he made the teacher everyone loved cry. He hooked up with 2 of his friends' girlfriends. They ditched him after that. There was a guy that was pretty popular. He got really drunk at a party and totally didn't know where he was. He pulled down his pants, squatted, and totally started to poop. He moved away immediately. He was a senior and I was in 8th grade. That was well over 25 years ago. Well, he friended me on Facebook a couple months ago and I kind of recognized him as here. I racked my brain, and it came to me, the guy who pooped at the party. Poor guy. Most popular kid in my middle school was this big Samoan dude. Looked like he was 13 going on 25 years old. I remember he gained a lot of popularity when he serenaded this girl in class to ask her to the dance. He had music playing on his iPhone and he started belting out love songs while on bended knee. Later on that year he went from hero to zero when we found out he'd been molesting his sister. He seduced a quiet girl in school. She was really soft-spoken but super nice to everyone, basically everyone's little sister. She was absolutely beloved by everyone in her year, and he was a year older. He was her first love, and he fucked her once, took her virginity, and then essentially abandoned her. She was devastated by it, and it broke her for the rest of the time she was at school. She went right into her shell and barely spoke to anyone. When he started bragging about what he did, everyone hated him this year. He even got beat up a few times because people were so angry at what he did. Graduated. Turns out, some learn the hard way that adulthood is not the same as high school. Got an 8th grade girl pregnant while he was a junior in high school. He eventually transferred out because everyone hated him so much. She dated me. We were in speech and debate together. Both did impromptu, and we would give each other random quotes and stupid cartoons to practice with. Spent a lot of time together because of it. We dated for about 2 days before people mocked her for it and she bailed on me hard to keep her social status. She never socially recovered from the sin of liking one of the nerds. Thing is though, she then lost all her nerd friends too. Somebody catfished him and was a short vid of him naked that went to a lot of people that most of us saw. Kinda felt bad for him but remembered he's an asshole. NSFW. One kid fucked a dog for $20 USD. And then after he screwed the pooch he didn't even receive payment. Homeboy fucked a dog just to do it really. Girl in my middle school was really popular, but she was also super nice. I was a total outcast with a lot of problems. But she was the only person who ever treated me like a normal human being. She came out as bisexual and got bullied so badly she had to move schools. He spilled some of the soapy water stuff from the bucket that holds the mop onto the floor. And the chill teacher that didn't care about whether you played games in class or not tripped in. Fractured, broke his right arm this year. Our king of the school was the quarterback of the football team this year. Top of the pyramid until he got busted raping one of our classmates at a party. After high school, he was convicted multiple times for child molestation, and he ended up committing suicide last March. I remember in middle school the popular kid asked out the most unpopular girl and then embarrassed her in front of everybody by breaking up with her and laughing in her face about how she could think it was real. It was really sad, and I remember her being really into high school TV shows, and I think she really wanted to be popular. Like she hoped life would be like a Disney show or something. IDK what happened to him, but I remember everyone kinda being like, dude, and he moved a bit. Later, in high school, the popular kids weren't necessarily bullies. They weren't super welcoming into their circle to invite everyone to parties and stuff, but they weren't total bullies. At least, that I know of. They were just good at sports and attractive pretty much. Well, the popular girl at my school tried to ruin the life of a really sweet girl because of boyfriend drama. When she realized people were standing up for the sweet girl instead, she lost her mind, accusing the other girl and her boyfriend of property damage, turning on anyone who didn't swear loyalty to her, turning people against one another, screaming at teachers. It was a mess. The nail in the coffin was when she confided to me and two others that she was planning to put laxatives in the pastries she baked for the class. Obviously I let people know, and she became completely ostracized. She left at the end of junior year, and senior year was the most chill year ever. It was quick and ruthless. Most popular guy in school was the leader of the popular clique, but he, and the rest of them, was a total asshole. One day he sat down with a quiet kid at lunch who liked to sit by himself. He asked the quiet kid if he wanted a friend to eat with. This was an obvious attempt to get everyone to see how nice he is, which is shitty already, but it came out like he was calling the kid a loser right to his face. God, you're such a cunt, said the quiet kid, getting up and moving to a different table. Whole school saw it. It was like that episode of Doctor Who with the silence. Everyone woke up and realized what a dickbag he and his cronies were. They weren't popular after that. Best answer to this happens between elementary and middle school. Our elementary was small, and we fed into a middle school with a much bigger school. Think 20% us, and 80% theme this year. Most popular kids showed up on the first day, after only knowing what it's like to be the coolest kid in the small school, and tried to start shit with some random kid, who was with 11 of his friends, to show how cool and top dog he was to everyone, I guess. Yeah, those 12 guys beat him up, and then made fun of him for years. He wasn't cool anymore, just that fast. By high school nobody cared anymore, but he was never really popular again. Pissed off one of the other popular guys, maybe by dating his ex-girlfriend. I can't remember exactly how, but every dude in school shut him out and he had no friends. Kinda sad because he was a decent guy and they turned on him at the slightest provocation. But that's how things were in my class. My class was known for having the meanest, cruelest cliques. We had a few substitute teachers who refused to teach our class because we were so awful. I'm glad I moved schools. That place was a nightmare. Robbie was a big, huge fucking bully. I used to play football with him. Watched a coach go full fucking psycho on him, literally kicking him in the ass all the way off the field because he spit on a player, and the goddamned gall of it just sent the coach into a fucking rage. And Robbie mocked him the whole way off the field. But when that kid hit you, it was like a fucking freight train. He was always very dumb, and angry, and fucking rabid. He teased everyone for everything, yet somehow remained pretty popular in the upper echelon because he hit like a beast and won football games. Then one day, it was so fucking weird. He came to school in a sweater with an iron button down underneath. He usually came to school in torn t-shirts and basketball shorts and was generally a disheveled mess. He had an older brother, David, who never looked like any of that. So we knew he wasn't poor. He was just being Robbie. So this was a big deal. And it was bizarre. And when people asked him what was up with it, he would just say, "I'm gay now." It was so fucking strange. He did not lose any intensity. But he kept saying, like, "I'm gay now. I like boys, okay." Quote, and "I want a boyfriend. You wanna go out?" Quote, I saw him get genuinely upset with people laughing at him this year. He'd just scream, "It's not a joke. I'm fucking gay, you assholes." Nobody knew what to do with it. We were a country school. We had a gay kid. A kid Robbie had bullied. Now Robbie was trying to hang out with him this year. Nobody wanted to touch the fucking weirdness with a 10-foot pole. We figured best case scenario the dude had lost a bet. But then he did it the next day, and the next. For months he kept dressing a Robbie version of preppy, and proclaiming his gayness. Pretty sure he got an earring at some point. If I remember correctly, he later recanted all of this and screamed down anyone that brought it up. Maybe it was a legit attempt to come out, but he just Robbied the whole thing up until it was unpalatable. He's in prison now. Cool. Twin brothers from my HS drove home intoxicated from a football game. Crossed a double yellow and smashed head-on into a car coming in the opposite direction, killing the other two occupants almost instantly. The brother not driving was severely injured and is currently still slightly mentally disabled. The brother driving came away with relatively minor injuries. Somehow he got away with no charges filed, probably on account of his lawyer father. He was also on one of our more successful teams, so when he returned to school a couple of weeks later they announced it during a school assembly, basically celebrating his return and congratulating him on a speedy recovery. Some of his friends started applauding, but pretty much everyone else ostracized him from that point on, given the fact that he killed two people. And yes, he still is and was a piece of shit. Not an outcast, but that we found out sadly the double life she had. She is a friend of mine. School sweetheart. Boys fawning over her, and a heartbreaker since she seemed to always turn boys down. She had that good girl next door persona, the type boys would love to introduce to their famous year. She had money spending issues, borrowed money and never paid them back, became a habitual liar. The first and last time she conned me was for my tuition fees. She hitched a ride with me and saw the cash I was carrying to pay for the semester. It was my parents' money and any change should be given back to them this year. Begged me to loan her an amount to pay off her tuition. I kept saying no and gave me a sob story. This is my dear friend, and my red flags were going off. I gave her some large amount but not all. Immediately hopped out of the car. We were heading supposedly to enrollment building to pay. Made an excuse why she isn't heading to pay. Dodged me for 2 years to pay off the loan. Made excuses. I paid back my mom and lied for her sake, as my mom would have raised hell. I only got a fraction of the loan back. From there I saw signs of her double persona. Sweet and charming yet conniving. Borrowed money to buy things to live up to whatever fashion hype. If not money, expensive clothes and equipment. She also bailed on major class projects she promised to take the lead on, almost causing her classmates' graduation eligibility. I heard through the rumor mill that she slept around, and from a family member's account during a sleepover. She tried her luck on my cousin, but nearly got caught by my mom this year. Around the time this all came to light, people politely kept their distance from her being that girl. She got pregnant, back a single mom, and used her daughter a few times to borrow money again. The sad part was, a few years ago, she legit got diagnosed with a type of cancer and her treatments were expensive. She nearly got zero financial help from friends and former classmates to help her out due to her lying history. The good news: cancer was caught early and she is doing fairly well. She is working and earning a decent living and seems to have turned over a new leaf since.